Answers Super Show. And it's so super because we got to boot Cy Kellett out of the chair. And I got the whole, part of the crew with me. Welcome to Catholic Answers Super Show, where we talk about the news, cultural commentary, and all other fun stuff that's not completely immediately tied to apologetics, but maybe you get to have a little more fun. Today, we have Jeff Cam in studio. What's up, Jeff Cam?
What's up?
How's it going?
Good. Good to be here. How are you doing, Edgar?
Good to have you. I'm doing great. Doing great. And then on the screen, we have the one and only Erica Talley.
Yes, hello.
Hey.
Thank you for saying the one and only. That's so sweet. And I'm part of the crew now.
You are part of the crew, of course. I'll give you like a little bit of a heads up behind the scenes look that Cy and I were talking about when we were developing this show. Is we want a cast of people to be able to give different perspectives, different takes, and you were one of the names that got tossed out. And what was really cool is. Jeff, not to throw you into the bus that you weren't one of the names being tossed around, but you were giving great commentary when you were running the board here. So we named a camera after you, and here we are now. So we get to do something like this.
I am the first and only camera named person from Catholic Answers. Historical.
Yeah, that's true.
Big deal.
I don't have that notoriety, so
that's true. But I will say one thing, Erica, you have been on camera more frequently.
I have.
Yeah. More than I was expecting, because you're doing a lot of the marketing stuff, but you're presenting actual apologetic stuff, which is cool.
Yeah. Which, I don't ever want anyone to think I'm an apologist, because I am definitely not, but I'm just taking the answers that already exist from our website, so don't shoot the messenger. Although I have been metaphorically shot many times, especially on X. So
well, welcome to the club, right?
Most Catholics I am completely oblivious because I don't have social media, and I intend to keep it that way.
Well,
except for some cleaning shorts I did on YouTube for a little bit, but I've taken all those down. So.
Well, if you're not keeping up with social media, then do you know about these viral videos that have gone up about Shia LaBeouf? Do you know the whole saga, or should I skim through it?
No, please share the saga. I know it, but I want to hear from your mouth.
Okay.
Yes.
So we all know the situation with Shia LaBeouf converting to Catholicism. We know that Bishop Barron interviewed him, and he had some really cool takes, and kind of like I felt a little vindicated on my love for tradition and the things that he was saying as a convert. And he made this movie about Padre Pio, which I won't get into, but so he started kind of moving in that direction. And then what we heard from him was not much for a little bit of time. And sometimes silence is a good thing, especially when it comes to celebrities, right? I mean, celebrities that keep their life kind of private is a good thing. They're out of the limelight. And then we have Mardi Gras come up. And then we heard the news
It's always Mardi Gras.
It's always Mardi Gras.
It's always Bourbon Street. It's always Mardi Gras.
And you had the story of Shia LaBeouf, who was out there drinking, and some scuffle broke out, and he ended up getting arrested. And after that,
I think... He's totally innocent.
You think he's innocent? Yeah.
No. Well...
I mean, you just don't know if you're not like actually there, or you don't know the full details.
Right, no, I wasn't. He said some things and did some things.
Yeah.
Anyway, continue.
Yeah. So he's he's human, and he did some things, and then there came out an interview out that he did with a guy named I think was it, I have the name pulled up here, Andrew Callahan.
Oh, is that the Channel 5 News or something?
I think so.
Channel.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I watched part of that, but I just couldn't. I can't listen to him talk.
Well, you listen to him talk, and it's still very much the gritty kind of secular way of speaking. It's not like he all of a sudden became this Latin mass going, completely clean, always trying to present himself as presentable as possible. No, the guy's still covered in tattoos, and he still kind of dresses in his Hollywood ways. When I heard about him getting arrested, I was really disappointed. And to me, it reinforced something in my mind to say, this is why we have to be careful of promoting recent converts who have not matured yet in their faith, who still have a long journey to go through. And especially working in media, the desire is to, well, let's get these guys on, let's interview them and immediately figure out what was it that made them convert, and now they're a part of the team, right? But the problem is, humanity is still involved. So you're going to have people who turn back to their sin, or you just don't know where they're going to be, especially if they don't have proper catechesis or proper guidance in being around other solid, Catholics. So
Right.
when I saw this, I was like, man, he's probably just sliding back into that. And then this interview came out, and we're not going to play the video, but there were a couple of lines that I think they went viral, and I think they're becoming a meme, which is unfortunate because I think it's such an interesting moment. The guy asks him, "What would you tell Jesus if you saw him?" And Shia's comments were, "I wouldn't say nothing, but I'd kiss him. I'd kiss his feet." And that was an absolute vindication of what happened before, because to me, it witnessed that, okay, this man is fighting, and you hear it in his voice, and you hear like that deep groan of like, I am fighting for this. And then the rest of the interview, the kind of weird, he kept reassuring, I'm a Catholic, I'm a true one, So I felt kind of dumb afterwards and thinking, man, I immediately jumped into this, and now I feel like this man just witnessed to a heck of a lot more people than I have in my life, especially when I get, into a rut and I'm feeling horrible, and then I just start witnessing in a very bad way. So what are your guys' thoughts on all this?
Well, it's hard enough to be Catholic in just an ordinary person's life, but you are a celebrity. And even though he's kind of tried to get away from that, he did marry, which I believe they're divorced now, but he married a famous actress. I don't remember his last project, but I guess it was Padre Pio. He might have done something after that. But still, paparazzi are on him. He lives in the public eye. So to live a completely different lifestyle that's antithetical to celebrity lifestyle, it's probably really hard. He probably doesn't have much of a support system around him, even though ironically he has more resources to those things, just with connections and money. But and then you bring in addiction to that. He's been addicted for a while, so I can't imagine how hard that is. And I think, like you were saying, Edgar, you got to kind of drop those people down off a pedestal a little bit, but continue to pray for them. And Shia is no different from you or my other Catholic brother and sister in Christ. So
Yeah.
Yeah, and the celebrity Catholic thing can be a problem for sure, right? Because we suddenly project our expectations on them, and then when they don't match what we expect, it goes this way. What I was struck by in that interview, that follow-up interview, was this is not the standard sort of person sitting in the pew on Sunday, pretty comfortable, maybe trying to fix one or two things in their life, maybe not, maybe just sort of like kind of making it through. As you said, it seems to be a person, and actors are professional liars, so
yeah.
But let's take him at his face value and say, like, he's a guy who's trying, and the reality of the Christian life is that we're trying, and it's ugly at times.
Yeah.
Right? And
Right.
so that's why we pray for one another, and that's why we have the sacraments, because we can access those. And despite being a celebrity, celebrities still go to mass and they get the sacraments.
Yeah.
I was always thinking, if I were to, so I've watched Shia in movies and stuff for a long time. I'm not like a Shia LaBeouf fan, but I enjoy him. Probably my favorite movie of his is Peanut Butter Falcon, which is just so good, so funny. So, it's a great movie. There's a little bit of language in there, so that's not like a stunning endorsement. But if I met him, I would probably be starstruck, and I would have a hard time meeting him person to person on an equal level. But when he went to one of the monasteries or somewhere to meet some monks, I think he met some very balanced monks and holy monks who didn't care who he was, and not in a way of like, I don't care who you are, like an anti sort of way, but it just in a you're another human being and sinner, and we're here to try to help. And I imagine that had to be pretty incredible for a person as famous as he is, to have somebody look at him and treat him like a human being and not like a celebrity who's different from us.
I can imagine it gets really difficult surrounded by the paparazzi constantly coming after you and wanting something from you, whether it's a shot or somebody trying to make you sign some merch that they can sell. And
I saw him when he was leaving the courthouse. He just started running after one of the paparazzi.
did he really?
Yeah. I mean, it got the guy to run away, so.
He got his viral moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I was watching the parts of the interview, the more I watch it, the more I'm like, all right, this guy really is on a journey. Did you see the part where he recommended a book by a guy named G.K. Chesterton? He literally pulled it out of his bag. I think he pulled it out of the backpack.
He's right behind you.
Yeah, I know.
Edgar, he's right behind you.
Brought to you by my mentor, John Vasquez. Thank you so much for that donation, which he printed out with his 3D printer. But yeah, I know it's so the fact that he's getting something. He's not stagnant. Like clearly, there's something growing, and he's actually picking up really good material that's making him go deep, which is cool.
He's just a rugged guy,
He is.
But there's a lot of rugged saints. I think that's what's been appealing to him. I think he said something about that in some interview somewhere, maybe with Bishop Robert Barron. But yeah, I just think, I could have gone to Bourbon Street and gotten drunk and headbutted a few people, but you guys would probably never know about it.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not saying I did that. I'm not saying I didn't. No, I'm just kidding. But
I mean, you're not far, right?
There's a lot of things that go on in our lives that we're never going to know about that happen, But so, yeah. Anyway, there's a certain exposure that he has that, and he's kind of under a microscope in a way. So
yeah. I remember a few years back. What was it? There's multiple celebrities that we've talked about getting on the show, and I think the prudent decisions of saying, just let them continue on their path, their conversion, until they come to a place where they're more grounded in the faith. We recently did an interview with NBA player, now I'm blanking, Gordon Hayward. So that's going to come out on the Psych Hellet show. And it was really interesting talking to him because, faith was at the forefront of everything that he did. But, we didn't discover that he converted until a few years later. Like we interviewed him, we talked to him about his faith. And I think by the time we found out about him and his conversion, that drama of, wrestling with, especially the bigger issues, he's kind of solidified in the faith. He's still struggling with things. He's still kind of going back and forth with things. I think Cy and I didn't do a very good job explaining indulgences to him. But because he's like
that one's a hard one.
It's a hard one. And we were having lunch.
Yep.
Me and Cy were like, I think we're actually drawing him away from the faith the more we talk. We should probably give the phone over to Joe Heschmeyer. We were talking, but allowing people to just sit in the presence of God, mature, and move forward. But his comment on he wouldn't say anything. He would just kiss Jesus. He would just kiss his feet. The image that arose in my head was him sitting in the pew before the Blessed Sacrament, like in adoration, and that's what he can do, and he does, and I hope he does go to adoration.
Yeah, I think one of the difficulties here is that a person's conversion can become content for other people. Right, yeah. And there is something that can be good from conversion stories, and reading those and being edified by them, especially from the saints, is really good. But yeah, if a person's been Catholic for a very short time, and I mean that early time when for me, even when I reverted to my faith in my 20s, there's that a few years there, you're just like trying to figure out like, what do I believe now? What have I changed, and how am I going to work this into my life? It's very different, and imagine coming from an unchurched position or something. It's very dangerous to put them on pedestals. Yeah, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, I just blanked on what I was going to say.
You were going to say how, speaking of content creators.
Speaking of content creators.
Well, actually, yeah.
Putting people on pedestals.
Yeah, well, so kind of tying both of getting into the content creator side of things, one of my pet peeves is when it comes to Catholic or Christian content creators who, instead of continuing the mission of bringing catechesis and theology and apologetics to the faith, we fall into the dramas that the secular world does, and you start beefing with each other. And I think, not to bring up a lot of examples of current day, but it hurts my heart to just see just the constant infighting, even amongst the Christians and the Catholics. And it's like, I think we're forgetting about why we're on these platforms. Like, hey, we're all on Instagram trying to make content together, even though we're doing our own thing separately. Like, the mission is the same. I'm not competing with you. I shouldn't be, necessarily out there condemning you in public and try to bring more clicks for the sake of we disagree. Like, the goal is to bring Christ. And I think that just irks me so bad.
Yeah. Well, you have to be really disciplined with all of that. Even I definitely struggle with the sin of curiosity. I want to know all of the things that are happening in the influencer world. I'd say all things. I don't really. But, when scandals happen, I kind of go down a rabbit hole, and it's like, is this productive?
Yeah.
Am I building up myself? Am I building up this other person? How could I actually utilize my time better? Maybe like pray for them or myself. So it's hard to not go down that rabbit hole when you have access to all of these different threads and videos and people's takes in the comments, and you get wrapped up. So it's not a good thing.
Is my team right here? Yeah. That's a good point. And the sin of curiosity, that's such a great point. Can you tell us more about that versus wanting to understand things better?
Yeah, I think that's St. Thomas Aquinas who coined sin of curiosity, because curiosity in and of itself it's not wrong. It's not inherently bad or immoral, but this desire to just know things that are really not productive in your life or your faith. One thing that kind of comes to mind is like listening to murder podcasts. What's the point? I don't know. Or gossip. There's so many different avenues you could take that, but I think that you kind of could make it an idol. It's ties into probably multiple of the 7 deadly sins if you go too far down it. But like, I've gone to confession for the sin of curiosity for just wanting to know about like a celebrity and their new house they bought or something. It's stupid. It's a waste of time. So
I'm not tempted by that. So yeah, it is stupid.
That's good.
I am tempted by that.
Throw the stone, man.
I'm tempted by it in different ways. I always think that other people's sins are stupid. Mine, they make sense. They're totally natural human being. Yeah.
My sins are very dumb. I will
mine are too. No, mine are too. I just wanted you to bring that up because that's super interesting. Middle-aged guys like myself, we call it monitoring the situation. So there's a lot of these new things.
That sounds a lot better, more positive.
Yeah, we spin it.
It makes sense to want to be informed about certain things. There's a line. There's always a line with everything. The age-old phrase, everything in moderation. But it's like, why do I need to look? Why do I need to search?
Yeah, well, David was punished by God for doing a census of his people, right? Like, he wanted to know exactly how many people he had in his kingdom, and God told him, like, this is not a good thing to do. So I think about that, and I think about things like the conflicts in the Middle East right now. Like, how much do I need to pay attention to it, and how much can I just say, like, it's out of my control, I can't do anything about it, I'm pray for lasting peace, and then try to carry on my day and not worry about it too much. But there's a curiosity of but maybe if I find out like that it's actually these people behind this and then the other thing, and then it's if it's political good guys or political bad guys, and Yeah, so it's very easy to go down the rabbit hole as well.
You know what? You know what I imagine when you go to confession, instead of saying, "Bless me, Father, for I have sinned, for I have gossiped," it's "Bless me, Father, for I have sinned, for I have been monitoring the situation." That's like the cleanest way of saying, "Yeah, I've been kind of gossiping."
Yeah.
The manly way of saying it.
The masculine sin of monitoring the situation too much.
There you go. Well,
Just being caught up in the drama, but we don't want to get into drama, but we do want to talk about Christian influencers, right?
Speaking of,
and just
let's monitor the
speaking
situation.
I've been thinking about this lately. I came across this video yesterday of a young woman doing some sort of series, and she's a Christian influencer, has that title, which here at Catholic Answers, we like to say Catholic creators, which we'll also get into that later. And to me, it just kind of screamed materialistic a bit, and I've been noticing this theme of Christian influencers where they market their life as something that's really aesthetic to attain, that basically once you become Christian, like your life can just look fancy, essentially. It's the quiet luxury mentality. So, yeah, I think it's a bit of a repackaged prosperity gospel, but what do y'all think?
Yeah, so you shared a video with us of a Christian influencer that when I first watched it, I thought, this is selling sunset without the reality TV, with the blanket of light Christianity. And I just looked at it, I thought, is this actually doing any good? And then the introduction, which you explained perfectly, there's like the Hollywood sign and they're going down like Rodeo Drive, and it's like, where's the Christian side of this? Like, I don't think I see any kind of Christian imagery, and the only kind of meditation and prayer that you actually see in the intro is her doing yoga. which is quite interesting.
Meditation.
Yeah.
And we don't really do that as Catholics. Yeah, there's a lot of videos like that where, it might not even be a whole series, but it's their day in their life. And it's truly, maybe they get up early, but they go to their Pilates class and they grab their iced coffee, and then maybe they'll do their little Bible study, and they live in this really nice home. And then they'll do kind of a sit down talk situation where maybe they'll talk about their faith and something they're struggling with in their life. But it's almost like people who watch that just don't have Christian friends who they can relate to. And there's this desire for people to have like cool Christian friends. And I hear that so often. So maybe it's that too. Like, people just desire to have Christian voices in their life who seem normal or cool or have a sense of fashion, There
is something to say, though, that part of evangelization is to show that the gospel is attractive. And there are a lot of Catholic content creators that we've met, that have come through the office here, that do aesthetically really great content. But
which is good. Because we were created by the Creator, it's good to facilitate beauty in your life and want to be surrounded by that. Just keep going.
I didn't have much else to go from there. I think you completed my thoughts. So, I don't know.
I can hop in here. So it's like, is it beauty though, or is it? Do you guys know the X but Y meme? It's like Don Draper. I've never watched the show Mad Men, but he's standing in front of a white blank sheet and he's doing this, like he's giving a pitch, and so it's like it's X but Y. So it's like such and such but Catholic. Is kind of the and maybe somebody that's watching right now can do this with Photoshop, but I want to do a Father Mike Schmitz face in there, and it's X but Catholic, because a lot of times this sort of stuff can come about where it's like it's a show just like X but it's Catholic, and that generally does not end up with good, long-lasting created either art or books or content or whatever. It just turns into something that's X but Catholic, and I think the way to differentiate ourselves, if you like somebody could say that and this is not the take I'd say. Somebody could say, well, Tolkien is like fantasy, but Catholic. Tolkien invented the genre of fantasy, right? He decided, I'm going to write this complete universe. He didn't say, I'm going to write a Catholic universe. He said, he basically invents fantasy and writes this amazing story with Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. And I think true creativity and artistry creates beautiful, long-lasting things. I don't think something that's got pictures of, or like streaming of Rodeo Drive, or like a nice car, or these sorts of things, is a beautiful piece of art. It's content meant to be consumed. It's the sort of content that at the beginning of Lent you might go, I'm not going to watch this show for Lent, right? But you would never say, I'm going to stop reading the Bible for Lent, or I'm going to stop reading, something that's like really powerful and meaningful and good. I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to listen to Mozart during Lent unless you're like really into music, and that's a real sacrifice. But generally, true beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. Yeah. Truly, things that are truly beautiful do raise us up. And these sorts of things, it's like, I was joking with Edgar about this. It's the real world. We put 15 people into a house, but it's Catholic. Let's see what happens. And it's like cheesy. It always ends up being this like, just kind of miserable. And, sometimes it gets a cult following or people will enjoy it for what it is, but it's not something that's going to move the needle culturally.
I think, you have a great point. And that probably ties into the loss of actual understanding of what beauty truly is. And there's kind of this sterilized version of it now. And you see that in like these kinds of videos, it doesn't feel like authentic beauty. And okay, speaking of Catholic creator, one of my favorites, I'll just give her a shout out. She has no idea who I am, but I watch her YouTube videos. Her channel's called War on Beauty, Julia James Davis, and she talks all about this and just basically like the Los Angelesification of architecture and art and content and all of those things that you see nowadays online. It's lacking for sure. So maybe too, it's one of those things where people want to just like, they went from consuming a lot of secular media and they want to replace it with Christian media, but it's not indicative of the true beauty of the Christian faith.
I think what it is people got that first initial step down. So let's come down to meet the people where they are. But the problem is you stay down there so long, you just start blending into everybody else instead of wanting to elevate them to the next step. And I think there are people out there that do try to elevate to the next step, but eventually that secularization has to kind of like wear off. And I think it's like a step thing. So just to give you an example, so just to share a little bit about my past, I used to be a gangster rapper. This is true, okay? I'll admit it.
And you
back
worked
in the
at a
day.
liquor store.
So
I knew you were a gangster. I didn't know you rapped too.
Yes, I did. And the music is out there somewhere.
We were both on SoundCloud.
That's right. Actually, some of my music is still on SoundCloud. I should probably take it down. But
Lil Eddie.
That's not even close.
Audience challenge.
Yeah. So I realized when I started, getting more and more involved in the faith, I was like, I still want to do rap music. And I met a whole slew of Christian rappers. The majority of them were Protestant. There were only like a few Christian Catholic rappers. One of them took the idea of Christian gangster rap to a very serious note. God rest his soul. The guy has passed away now. But he looked identical to all the gangsters that I kind of grew up with and admired, except instead of saying, I'm representing X side, he literally calls himself the Lord Side G. And I used to love this music. I was like, okay, cool, this can relate to me. But it never elevated from there. And then a lot of the Christian rappers that I would listen to, they were rapping, they had good beats. Honestly, like some of those bass, like I had a fat sound system in my car, so I just blare it. So I went from like blaring Lil Wayne and 50 Cent to blaring, these guys, and it sounded great in my car too. I was like, this is cool. But eventually, there was nothing in it that called me to be elevated. Then I discovered a couple of other Catholic rappers that took me to the next step. There was a guy who I'm still in touch with. His name is C26. He's one of them. He does rap. It's not my style anymore because I don't really care for rap as much anymore as I used to.
He's matured.
I would say so, yeah. But he still
I have
does
too.
it.
I
Yeah.
had a phase.
Yeah. But he still does it, and it's a good thing because what he does is he gets invited to come to parishes and offer these concerts to the teens, and it's a good alternative to be able to like, all right, it's not the end all be all, but it's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, it's reaching a hand out. It's creating a bridge.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
the lyrics that if you listen to him, he's talking about the Eucharist. He's talking about confession. He's doing catechesis while he's doing this music that hopefully that can eventually move these kids from listening to this rap to being able to enter into adoration and listen to the Tantum Ergo or the O Salutaris Ostia, O Salutaris Ostia, and be able to appreciate what is being said because that rap and those lyrics catechize to them, allowing them to move up. Like this show that you sent, it's not even close. Like
No.
you've reached down. Now start moving up. Like let's
My
elevate
spirit
it.
was deadened by watching it. Actually.
Who else do we know?
Background
Who else do we
noise.
know in the Catholic rap world?
Oh,
you got to
Enoch.
give a little shout out.
Yeah,
shout
Enoch.
out
Yeah, Enoch is a big Catholic
I don't
rapper
know
right
a
now.
single Catholic rapper.
Yeah, I mean, because it was just a phase for you. Okay, it was just a phase, Erica. Don't worry about it. I'm actually.
Yeah, I mean, I was
Don't
deep
put her
in
in
it,
a
but I was
corner.
not Catholic. I was not Catholic when I was in my rap phase, which
Good,
I
well.
think that's probably self-explanatory. But
Well, I'm actually Jeff connected me with Enoch, so I'm hoping to have him on the Super Show in a few months to hopefully talk a little bit about
Who?
this stuff that he does. Enoch.
Enoch. Okay.
Enoch. E-KNOCK.
Knock. Yep.
Mm.
So
Enoch on the door.
and knock on the door. Be knocking on the door. There you go. But yeah, I mean, and I think that not just goes for the culture, but I think it also goes for genuine femininity and genuine masculinity. Because you do have a lot of content creators out there who are still trying to present femininity and Christianity, femininity and masculinity in a lot of the terms that the culture sees it. So, there's, I'm not going to name any names or anything, but there's people that are out there who are promoting a form of masculinity that embraces like foul language. Like it's not masculine to say these things. Like, it doesn't make you look any tougher.
No.
It's just, I think it kind of just degrades it a little because it's like you're called to something higher. You're called to a holier life, including taming
If you're
your own
really the
tongue.
greater sex, like, can't you think of a better word to describe?
Well, you said it, Erica.
You said it.
Or are you just gonna lazily,
Exactly. And same thing with femininity. Like, you don't have to live on Rodeo Drive and you know what? So I should
and go
have,
to Pilates? Everyone, sorry, there's nothing against Pilates, although I have my beef with Pilates.
I showed the
that's
video to my
different.
wife, and she's like, I'm kind of intrigued. So, but she said
So the curiosity right there.
the person, curiosity. There you go. But in the video, in the intro, it talked about the woman was saying like, if all things are supposed to glorify God, then why does it feel like it's not because it's too noisy? Something to that effect. And Lena watched the video. She's like, as you're wearing a second skin suit because she was wearing like such tight clothes in the video. It's like, all right, that's a good point. Something I wouldn't, it's you're saying one thing, but your body language is saying another.
Interesting, yeah, and I should maybe stick to masculinity, but there are different ways of being masculine, not just around the world, but even within our country. So, like, what looks masculine for a man in Florida might be different than what looks masculine in, Washington State or California or New York.
Do you
Florida
tackle
man.
gators?
Yeah, city versus
Gators.
rural, those sorts of things. There's a lot of sort of optionality. So, trying to figure out, this is why what frustrates me, and sometimes the discourse of genders, right, is that like within the Catholic, masculine or feminine is if you start gatekeeping what masculine is, like, well, does it map back to Jesus? And then if it does, it's masculine, And if you don't, then if it doesn't, if it crosses those paths, if it's against God, then There's something broken in it, and I don't know. Sometimes you just get guys, and it's okay. I mean, when you're around guys, sometimes you're just and you're bumping chests, and you're having like just fun, just like being goofy. Like there's an okayness about that. What I just don't like is the online. This guy over here is not a real man. People like rag on Trent Horn a lot, and it's really frustrating to see because like that dude's a pretty good man from all that I can see publicly.
I finally told him the other day that he was my favorite apologist.
You told him?
I wasn't going to. I was like, I shouldn't tell you this. And he was like, well, now you have to tell me. And I was like, okay.
He's like, praise God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he didn't even say anything. I think he was just like, okay.
All right.
But people
stop fangirling.
Well, I really
get
wish
mad.
I never told you that then.
People get mad because he's not dunking on people, right?
Yeah.
Like he could dunk people, and that's the virtue of meekness, right? He's meek
Discipline,
because he
yes,
doesn't dunk on people. It's the fact that he's not just absolutely rolling
Meekness
people
is
out.
a great word, and it's one of the Beatitudes, and I don't understand why we don't encourage people to be meek. It's been twisted a lot in our culture. Yeah. Great points.
Yeah. Well, where do we go from here?
We have to talk about the Catholic creators at Trent's
True.
conference in April.
So speaking
Good transition, Erica.
Speaking of genuine content creators, and I will say this.
Yeah.
I really do think there's a difference between influencers and content creators. Now I know influencers make content, so technically they're content creators, but an influencer is just, I think, creating stuff just to be able to get some notoriety, while a content creator, I think, is actually trying to bring value to the forefront.
Generally, influencers market their lifestyle.
Yep.
And they are the product, or maybe they're advertising an actual product, but they're the advertiser, they're the product that they're selling. They're both. And then the content creators is more speaking on certain topics, but they're the face of said channel.
Go ahead.
I have to read this comment because it makes a great point. Divine Mercy Catechesis says, meekness does not mean weakness.
Mm-hmm.
Great point. That's a great point.
True.
Yeah.
There are people that are artists who cannot make it in the mainstream, and so they deliberately go after niche audiences like Christians.
Yeah.
And so when you find, and this person we're looking at, I don't know if that's her.
grifters.
I don't know her. Yeah. So there are grifters, and they're wolves in sheep's clothing. So this is not us just like, hey, look at these guys who suck. We're amazing. I mean, actually, Erica and I are not influencers. I think I speak for you.
Thank the Lord,
so
I'm not.
so we're not like we're influencers speaking badly. But there are wolves out there, and to not get sucked into that.
Yeah, absolutely. So speaking of good, solid content creators that are there to bring the message of Jesus Christ, you have the Conference of Trent coming up next month, which the three of us are going to be in attendance.
Yes.
Tell me more. It's in Texas, so you live in Texas.
Okay, so it's in Frisco, Texas, so that's north of Dallas. It is at a parish. It's a one-day conference. Do you guys remember what parish it's at? I should know this.
Let me pull it up. Give me one second.
I don't know, but it's in the octave of Easter, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, so
Yes.
meet Friday.
St. Francis of Assisi Catholic Church in
St.
Frisco,
Francis
Texas.
of Assisi. Okay, yes. I will be selling all the books that I did not sell at Seek. So please come buy those. We are also working on maybe some freebie things, but there's going to be an incredible lineup of Catholic creators. Lila Rose will be there. Laura Horn will be there. She keeps getting mentioned last, and I'm like, she needs to be at the top, okay? And then
Evan Ragus, I know Bender is a big fan of his. He's and praise God that he's back. He was in the Middle East when everything started happening, and it was kind of scary there for a second because he was in Dubai when the airport got bombed. So that's praise the Lord,
terrifying.
He's back. But he'll be there, and Brian Holdsworth as well, and a bunch of others.
Holdsworth. Oh gosh, who else?
I got the whole list here if you want me to go through them. And you're right,
that
Laura.
one Catholic girl.
That one Catholic girl will be there.
Converts. Trent Horn, of course.
Cameron Bertuzzi from Capturing Christianity. Thomas Graff. Deuterocomical. Byzantine Scotist. Is that it? I don't know. The Joyful Catholic.
That's a cool name.
It is. Master Samwise. I believe Cameron Riker will be there as well. I hope he's there. Pray for him and his family.
Yeah.
He just lost his son, so pray for the repose of his soul of his young son. The biblical bookworm Brian Mercier of Catholic Truth, and you're right. The very last person they mentioned is Laura Horner.
Save the best for last. It's like you watch the credits to a TV show
Yeah.
and then it says with so and so as such and such.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And special guest
I'm
appearance
excited to
by.
see how she'll be involved, but maybe she'll just be there. But
Well, I'm very curious because whenever you're with a group of people who are highly motivated individuals, the dynamics can be kind of interesting. But what I've realized when you're in a group of Catholic content creators, it's different. Because if you've ever been with a group of Catholic content creators and they're all sitting and chatting, that's one thing. But then you go into a church, everybody is you're just Catholic. And it's like everybody just falls into prayer and everybody just comes together. It's one of the coolest things ever. I'm very excited for this. Keith Nestor is going to be there as well, and Franco
nice.
TV. So, yeah.
Very sweet.
Killer
I
lineup.
think we're trying to fill. We're at probably over 600 spots. Last time I checked, we were over 600. We might be at 700. I think we're trying to get to around 800. So
That's a big
you can go to
turnout.
conferenceoftrent.com.
This is turning into a big promo for the conference.
It
Hey,
is.
yeah.
Oh, also we have March Radness going on right now, 30% off store wide.
I know what's happening. Erica
Yes, it is.
the new Carrie. So
Yes.
she's the one that's
I
throwing
will
out all the
never be
promo.
Carrie, but we do both love karaoke, so we have some similarities. But no. Yes, I am the marketing manager now. So all those emails you get. Oh, speaking of, my sister, she saw a recommended video on YouTube that was one of the Q&A videos that I did that came up on her YouTube yesterday.
Right.
Then she signed up for emails for Catholic Answers and got an email from me. So
She's like, I don't want to hear from you.
I know. She's like, what is going on? I was like, well, I'm glad the drip campaign that I set up is working because I was worried it wasn't. But yeah, now my niece and nephew think I'm a celebrity and I'm not.
Well, I mean, if you're on the Super Show, you're kind of like a micro celebrity, like a
I guess
micro,
I'm
like not
I'm
just
a
a micro
Catholic celebrity, so
like
that
a
makes me
microscopic
like a Z-list
celebrity. Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
You're not a real
I
celebrity
think
till
that-
there's a meme about you. We need some sort of Erica Talley gif.
That's
like
right.
A reaction
Yeah.
gif.
Oh,
Yeah. Somebody in the office needs to get memed. So.
yeah,
Bender,
it hasn't
work on
happened yet. And Jeff, your clock it needs to get. I need to message Luke because that's got to be added
The what?
somewhere. He did clock it very discreetly on one of the super shows we had a couple weeks ago.
Let's clock it.
Oh, you weren't there for that.
I can never do it again. So I've done it once and I will never do it again. But Eric, I can show you. It's just a little
Well, we
like
have
it's
it
just a little thing we
recorded,
do
so-
online, you know.
Yeah.
I have no idea what's happening right now. I will say this though.
Oh, look. She's did it. It looks like Baby Shark.
I did it.
It's actually
I never do that in my day-to-day life, but I'm doing it now for the kids.
yes.
This and this is yes in Spanish, like a Spanish sign, like in like Mexico. That's kind of like a.
Well,
a
that's
thing.
kind of how people use it. They're like, yeah,
it's
clock it.
in Mexico. I know a lot of my cousins do. They'll say seep, so instead of C, like it's seep.
Yeah.
It's weird. I don't know, but yeah, anywho.
I did actually make a GIF from one of the first Super shows when you and Cy were starting it, and you had that music, and he's doing this little dance.
Yeah.
Right. And I turned that into a GIF. Bender's seen it.
Was that when we got copyrighted? We played music.
No.
I don't think we've ever been
We
copyrighted.
never got hit with that.
Oh, okay, never mind. Sorry.
All right. Well, you know what? It's a little early, but it would be good to take a little bit of a break before the show. You guys good at calling it? I think this is a good time.
Sorry, I ran out of things to say.
No, you're good. I think this is good. 45 minutes is a good amount of time. So when we come back, we're going to take a 15-minute break. When we come back, we have 2 full hours of Bible questions. First hour, we have the one and only Tim Staples. And second hour, it's Tom Nash. So hang in there. When we come back, we're going to answer your questions. So I won't give you the phone number yet because people are already calling. All right.
Bye.
888-318-7884.
There you go. Johnny, hit it.